Hello, I'm Trent Ketchmark, and welcome to The A-List. Today we have with us newly elected Brookfield Village President Kit Ketchmark. Thank you for joining us today, Kit. I appreciate
Thank you for having me.
And I'd like to congratulate you on the recent election.
Thank you.
What did you prepare yourself to take office?
Shortly after being elected, I met with each of the board members, both those newly elected and the current board members. I asked them for their ideas and concerns and what they wanted to see on our agenda as we moved forward. After that, I had met with each of the department heads alongside our village manager and passed along some of the ideas and concerns from my board members and asked staff what we could do to help them continue their job and the fine job they do.
What is your role as village president?
As village president, I'm the chairperson of the village board. The village board sets the policy for the village. We aren't involved in day-to-day operations of the village. Village staff does that. In some towns, you would have maybe a mayor who is serving the role of as our village manager, handling the day-to-day. Brookfield isn't set up that way. We have the village president form of government.
And what was your involvement in the community before becoming village president?
Prior to being elected village president, I had served 10 years on the village board as village trustee. I was in the middle of my third term. During that period of time, I had served as liaison to virtually every commission. I had been a member of the infrastructure committee, the audit committee. I'd been finance chairman, member of the board of local improvements. I'd worked closely with my predecessor, Mike Garvey, on many projects over the years, and that all helped me prepare to take on my role as village president.
And what sort of items do you want to focus on in your term?
Our big focus will be continuing on with core services that we provide the residents. Everything comes back to finances. We are operating under a balanced budget. That's taken us several years to get to that point. We've had some challenging times going back to about 2008, 2009. But everything comes back to finances, so continue on that course, our long-term budgeting, et cetera. Infrastructure improvements. We have a 100-plus-year-old town. We have quite a bit of infrastructure improvements to focus on. This summer, staff will be providing us with a 5-year capital plan they have been working on that relates to water and sewer repairs, street repairs, building replacement, somewhere down in the future. And also economic development. Economic development is a key opportunity for us as we move forward. Things are starting to slowly happen in town. We're very excited about it. It's a very long process, though. Later this summer, we'll be beginning a program related to some radio marketing for the village, and we're very excited about that.
Is there any chance you might see the Cubs coming to Brookfield?
Well, as much as Brookfield is a very youth baseball friendly village, and we have some great playing fields in our town, we simply don't have the room for a sports franchise like that coming to town, which is one of the interesting problems in terms of economic development for Brookfield. We have limited space available, and if you look at the Ogden Avenue corridor in Brookfield compared to some other towns, we don't have the depth to our property that you would see in these other towns. So that will limit us somewhat in what kind of business wants to locate to Brookfield. So we have to be a little creative in how we go about that.
And what is the biggest challenge facing the village?
The biggest challenge, certainly, it comes back to the finances. The state of Illinois, we hear a lot about the issues they have. What we as a municipality are concerned about is that they take away some of our money to help fix their problems, which just creates more problems for us. That's tough. A municipality such as Brookfield operates a little differently than a school district like RB would be. Riverside Brookfield High School obtains 95% of its revenue through property taxes. The village of Brookfield only obtains about 50% of its revenue through property taxes. The rest of it is through permit fees, through sales tax, through income tax, et cetera. Those are the things that over the last few years have taken a little bit of a hit. We're starting to see them come back, but that creates a lot of challenges for us as we move forward.
And what is the toughest part about being village president?
The toughest part? It's probably similar to serving on the board. as much as you want to find ways to say yes to things, there are the times where you have to say no. You have a resident or a group that comes forward and is asking for something, permission to do something, or a special variance, etc. And there are those certain times where, in the best interest of the overall village, you have to say no to that. And that's not an easy thing to do, but we represent the entire village and their interests.
What sort of progress have you seen in Brookfield?
Prior to myself taking on the role as village president, we had accomplished quite a bit of work to our infrastructure. We had made over $25 million in infrastructure improvements. There was over $3 million worth of work done in our parks. We put forward a structure to the organization at Village Hall, which has helped us tremendously. And in many ways, we can continue on with that now. It takes a long time to get that structure in place. And even in terms of economic development, now we have that structure in place that will let us move forward.
And how can people get involved in their community, in their local government?
We have about, I think, 8 or 10 different commissions as part of the Village of Brookfield, from recreation to beautification to the Conservation Commission, Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals. We are always seeking, interested residents who want to be part of these committees. I just asked that they would send a letter of interest and a brief resume to myself at the Village Hall or through an email. And we could possibly look to having them appointed to one of the committees. It's a great way to participate in their village and see how local government operates.
Are there any interesting projects for Brookfield in the near future you can let us in on?
Recently, we were awarded our 3rd OSLAD grant for the Village of Brookfield. OSLAD is a grant from the State of Illinois Department of Natural Resources. It's open space and land acquisition and development. This was our 3rd grant we had received on that. The first 2 went to many of the improvements that you have seen at Eller Park, from the zero depth water park to the new refreshment stand to the new pavilion, the soccer fields. Those grants enabled us to do over $2 million worth of work just in Eller Park. The recent grant we got was for Kiwanis Park, the smaller of our 2 major parks. It's a very unique setting over there with the Oak Savanna and the creek running through it. Part of the grant will enable us to put in a new bandstand, walking paths, new horseshoe pits. There's going to be an area for Frisbee golf. Really kind of a neat area. And while at the same time we're going forward with the work through that grant, we're going to be looking for ways to enhance the Oak Savanna. It's really a neat setting over there. As well as the creek. What can we do to develop some sort of creek walk in our town? It's really kind of fun.
I think that will certainly be a nice addition to the town. I'd like to thank President Ketchmark for joining us on the show today. I'm Trent Ketchmark, and this has been the A-List. Thanks for watching.